after like feeling like congratulatory for them, or maybe even at the same time, or maybe even before, we're gonna be completely honest. Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Seyi and it's the Daily Seyi, where we talk about all things life, beauty, style, etc, etc. And if you are a returning subscriber, thank you so much for tuning in and being a real one. So today we're gonna have a little chitty chat. And to be completely and utterly honest, I was extremely apprehensive about talking about this, only because I do feel like it's still something that I am working through. But then it was put on my spirit that just because I'm still working through it doesn't mean that it can't necessarily be a basis to help someone else out. There's a tendency for us to feel like we need to have it all together before we can, I guess, give advice on something or give, feedback on something. And while I do think that obviously once you come out of something, there is like beauty in being able to tell people like, you get through it, I got through it. I also think there's a lot of vulnerability and rawness that comes with sharing about something that you're still dealing with. Today's chitty chat topic, and we'll find a formal, name for this whole series, because this will be a thing that I'll be doing, a little chitty chat. And we'll just call it that. Chitty chat. Chitty chat. Do we like it? I think I like it. What we are talking about today is the feeling of envy, jealousy, and insecurity. I had to be honest, open, and transparent, as Pastor Mike Todd will say from Transformation Church. If you're not familiar with Transformation Church, please go watch. It's been kind of hard because I am a person that, I feel like I'm slowly a recovering perfectionist. Like, I wrote a blog post about it, and I'll link it below, about trying to get rid of perfectionism, because I think that was leading to also this feeling of insecurity. The two were honestly tied in hand, because me trying to be perfect was leading to me feeling like I wasn't good enough, because I felt like I wasn't doing things good enough, because I wanted to do things perfectly. And so it was just a roller coaster that I could never get off. And so I made a vow that I'm going to try to not to be perfect. So with that said, this feeling of insecurity has been something that honestly has been a battle. I'm going to call it a battle of mine for like so long, since I could remember. And I feel like I've been dealing with it, and I don't want to say suffering with it, but it's heavy, because there's this constant feeling that you are never good enough. Part of me is like, girl, you bomb. What are you even talking about? Everything you do is good. And then there's the other part of me that's like, what are you saying? Nothing you do is good. Nothing you do makes sense. Like, you're a fraud, which could be like imposter syndrome, or like, nobody cares about you. Nobody cares about what you have to say. Nobody cares about what you're going to do. Blase. And so those two feelings are constantly battling in my mind. So as you can imagine, my mind be tired.
I'm tired of this, Grandpa. That's too damn bad.
I'm like, all right, one of y'all gotta chill. And unfortunately, sometimes it's like the confident me that it takes a back seat. I feel like I'm adaptable in situations, and when the situation calls for me to be straight up and confident, I'm gonna be confident, okay? You can't tell me I won't. And then there are other times where, I'm kind of alone by myself in the house, and I'm feeling like, woe is me, like, what am I even doing? And so those feelings have been pretty, they come and go, but like I said, as of late, they've been pretty like incessant. I think it's something for me that I'm actively trying to work through. And so a few things that I've had to sort of remind myself is, one, going back to like me and who created me, which is God. I am a person of faith, so the Christian faith. So this is just a disclaimer. I'm created by God. At the end of the day, I'm God's child, and that in itself is like a symbol of confidence. I'm special in his eye. I mean, we're all special. We all are. But like, you have to remind yourself that I too am a special person in God's eye, and not like somebody's more special than the other, because honestly, nobody's more special than the other. But you also have to realize that you too are a special human being. Now, that's on the spiritual side. On the practical side, I literally have to stop myself in my tracks whenever I find myself like my mind kind of going, all over the place about thinking about how I'm feeling and why I don't feel like I'm good enough. And I always say this, which I need to stop saying it. I would tell people, like, I literally feel like I always get the short end of the stick. I would constantly say that. And, you know, I do believe that words have power and words can definitely manifest in your life. And so I'm like, I can't be saying I feel like I have the short end of the stick, because eventually I will get the short end of the stick. It's like, I don't want to be a self-fulfilling prophecy. Like, I don't want the short end of the stick. And I can admit always, and still a lot of times feel that way. I feel like I'm always kind of like thought of last, or, you know, at least my mind, let me rephrase it. My mind perceives it as me being thought of last, as me being last picked, as me being like, you know, just the person that is like, okay, we couldn't get anybody else, so let's just get her. Like, that's how my mind will think about it. It's like almost like being like in elementary school and it was like kickball or dodgeball, whatever y'all played. I think we played dodgeball at my school. And, you know, they would pick. And then it was like you and the last person. And you're hoping that you're that second to last person, because you don't want to be the last person. That last person is like the person that, you know, it's just like, okay, well, fine, you're the only person left, so you have to be on our team. And that is how I'm feeling. Like, that is usually how I'm feeling in a lot of different situations. Even when I am like, quote unquote, the first pick, in my mind, for some reason, it's like not clicking. Like, what's not clicking? I'm like, oh, you know, yeah, they picked me, but they probably wanted somebody else, but they couldn't get that other person, so they chose me. And even saying that out loud sounds harsh on myself. Like, I don't think I've ever like verbally said that out loud. And saying it just feels like, dang girl, why are you so hard on yourself? Like, why are you so hard on yourself? And then comes this feeling that I have to like prove myself, because I'm feeling like, you know, I wasn't the first choice. All of a sudden, I feel like I need to show them that I am worthy of being the first choice. Y'all see the cycle that's happening? It's like a constant work. Right now, I'm taking a whole lot of effort to try to prove to someone that I am worthy of being part of this thing in the position at my job, worthy of being in a friend group, worthy of being like an influencer, worthy of being part of a campaign, worthy of being on YouTube. It's exhausting. And so I'm finally kind of, you know, I've had to sit down and quite literally take deep breaths in to calm myself down. Once I get down a spiral, all of a sudden I start having a headache. Like, I can feel my body feels heavy. And so I have to sit and breathe, put my head down, lift my head up to heaven, pray. And it can be like a breath prayer. It's like, God, give me the strength, literally. Because sometimes that's all I got. I'm like, I don't even know what else to pray. It's like, I don't want to be dealing with this anymore. Give me the strength to get through this. This is not like, what do you do to not be insecure? No, this is not it. That's not what this is. This is what I'm dealing with. This is how I'm tackling it. Which leads me to my next point of the feeling of envy, and then our jealousy, and then envy. And so I wanted to Google it because I'm like, I know there's a difference between the two. Like, the two are not the same. So the main difference between envy and jealousy is that envy is the emotion of wanting what someone else has, while jealousy is emotion related to fear that something you have will be taken away by someone else. I think a lot of times when we say we're feeling jealous, I think what we mean is that we're feeling envious. Envious sounds bad for some reason. It's that V. That's that V in envious. It just feels like a little suspicious. Don't be suspicious. Don't be suspicious. Don't be suspicious. If you're on TikTok, you know what I'm talking about. So yes, essentially what I feel that I thought was jealousy was actually envy. I knew I was feeling envious when, you know, whenever I would hear something about someone, I instantly would think, after like feeling like congratulatory for them, or maybe even at the same time, or maybe even before, we're gonna be completely honest. But when it's something I want and I hear that somebody else got it, all of a sudden it's like, oh, yay! That's how it is. And I had to admit that to myself, that there are a lot of times people would tell me something and it will be things that I was longing for my own life, like things that I wanted. Not that they didn't deserve to have it, because, you know, it's like, obviously I want them to succeed. I want them to like be fruitful in this life, but it also made me feel some type of way that it also wasn't happening to me. all of a sudden I would start feeling insecure. And I'm like, of course I didn't get it. Like, of course I'm always the one that's left out. Like, I never get anything. And so you see how like the two are interconnected. It hurts that I feel that way because I don't want to feel that way. I want to get to a place where I feel like when somebody tells me something, even if I've been praying for that thing for so long, I can just be like, wow, yes, congrats, this is amazing for you, and take me out the equation. Am I making sense? I hope I'm making sense. Essentially, I'm trying to not be feeling this way. And I know step number one, honestly, is kind of remaining steadfast in the word and finding those scriptures that help me understand, like, you know, what is envy? Because it's in the Bible. It's not like a new emotion that nobody ever dealt with. Initially tackling it that way and saying like, all right, and then tackling it with prayer. Because I'm like, this feels like a spiritual thing that can only be broken by spiritual means. And then practically, what am I doing to try to like remove myself from those feelings? And you know, it's actively congratulating somebody when something good happens for them, even if I want it. These feelings also stem from other like deep rooted things that have happened in my life. So we're not going to get on to all that because this is not a therapy session. I'm believing the break will come. I know it will. And I think the first step is admitting that this is something and being honest and open and transparent and saying like, hey, this is something that I am dealing with. But, you know, I don't think it makes me a bad person. I'm just a good person who has these other flaws, just as we all do. If you made it to the end, good on ya. You're a good listener. We'll have another chitty chat. As always, I thank y'all and I appreciate y'all for hearing me out. I will see y'all in my next video. Until next time, bye.
How did I weigh half and I flipped it in a double? How did I weigh half and I flipped it in a double?